What's up guys, Romsicle here, and today I'll be showing you guys how I built my brand new reference test board which I previewed in the last video. So this is the case that we're using, just check it out. It's nice and shiny, it's thick, and it just screams quality. So the case that we're using here is the Melgeek Mojo 60. It's a real hefty 60% anodized aluminum case. You can also choose ceramic coating, which gives you a bunch of colors, and you can also choose a fancier option of brass or chrome finishes. You've got a Mojo logo on the back, a super deeply recessed porthole, super thick sides, nice rounded edges, and it's just overall a very aesthetic case. The bottom is super smooth, but you do have these debossed edges for the rubber feet that are provided. They're nice and sturdy and cushiony, but I don't like to use them, so I'm going to be leaving them out of this build. This case does offer an 8-degree typing angle, which is slightly higher than your typical 5 to 6%, and I actually find it to be more comfortable to type on. And this is the PCB that we're using, and it's called the Mojo 64. It's a 60% PCB with a 64 key layout, which is by far my favorite layout of all time. This PCB is actually amazing. First off, you have south-facing 5-pin sockets, so you have JMK keycap compatibility as well as plateless build compatibility. You've got surface-mounted RGB LEDs for the switches and the stabilizers, which is a super rare feature. So if you're going to be building on this PCB, I would highly suggest getting some clear stabilizers from Zeal because it's going to make the keyboard even flashier. The USB-C port is on the left side, and you can also see all the corresponding letters and symbols on top of the sockets as well. It's just a great PCB overall, and it even has a matte black finish, so even a plateless design would look perfect. But we will be using a plate for this particular build, and we are using the MJ6Y E-White aluminum plate from Melgeek. It has a 2U left shift for the proper 64 key layout, it's nice and sturdy, and is perfect for RGB diffusion. Since this keyboard is just a reference board, the switches don't really matter, but for now I'm going to be throwing in some Telio switches and some Boba U4Ts. I did also get some sound dampening foam for this board. I have a 1mm foam for the bottom and a 3.5mm foam to put between the PCB and the plate. I will be replacing the foam on the bottom because it's just too thin, and for some reason on this piece I can't seem to remove the film on it. So it will do for now, but I will be replacing it. So let's bring that aesthetic case back into the center and put the first layer of foam on the bottom and align it with all the screw holes. Our next step is going to be putting in our screw-in stabilizers into the PCB. We are using Zeal stabilizers lubed with Krytox 205 grade 0, and as usual, after lubing your stabilizers, make sure to test them out on the PCB itself to make sure that there is no stabilizer rattle. And for this particular build, I will only be using the stabilizers on the spacebar and not on the longer keys because the 5-pin sockets already keep the switches in place very tightly and they do not need it. And our first task is to put in the foam in between the PCB and the plate before putting in the switches. Next, we're going to have to put in the switches onto the plate and stick them onto the PCB. The best way to do this is to take a couple of switches and use them as anchor points. So we start off with the corners, then the top and the bottom, and then 2 points in the center. This will prevent the plate from overflexing when putting in the rest of your switches, and it's just good practice to do it this way. And of course, all these switches are lubed with Krytox 205 grade 0, and you can check out the reviews up above. And now that all the switches are in, we can now place the PCB onto the case and screw it in. And the last piece of this build is going to be the keycaps, and we are going to be using the Cat Alphas for this build. They're made with thickened PBT, so you're getting a really satisfying thock. You've got dye sublimation lettering, and the color is perfect for any E-White case and also matches real well with the silver case here. I even added some extra foam underneath the spacebar to make it even thockier. And bam, this is the finished product of my brand new reference board. Look how amazing this thing looks. But now let's listen to what it sounds like. The keyboard sounds awesome, but that's not the end of it. Thanks to QMK software, I've got all the features I need and remapped to exactly where I want them. A good example are the LED controls. I've got color changing, saturation, effect speeds, and effects all controlled with the bottom row of my keyboard, and it is amazing. A fun fact is that this keyboard and layout is exactly my dream keyboard that I've been looking for when building my first custom keyboard. It's been around 8 months since then, and I'm so glad that I finally discovered this beauty. And let's end this video off with the pricing. The case costed around $110, the foam costed $12, the PCB was $47, the plate was $20, and lastly the keycaps were $75. So even without the switches, the build comes to around $270. It's not the most expensive, but the quality that you're getting is definitely worth it. And this keyboard was made specifically to test switches and to accurately portray switches on a tray mount case. So I am super satisfied with the build here. So is this the best build that I've made so far? I think so. This keyboard's got a super clean aesthetic, you've got a really nice sound profile, especially that spacebar, and the build quality is nice and sturdy with that CNC anodized case. There's also something about a heavy keyboard making it feel more premium. I don't know what it is, but it just feels more premium when a keyboard is heavier. And the best part about this board is that it's super attainable. It's not crazy expensive, and it's also not exclusive to group buys, so you can buy it whenever you want. And all the parts will be linked down below. Let me know what you guys think about this board. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.